Hi everyone, Sajid Amit here, and I don't have the mic very close to me, but I'm fixing that in a second. So yeah, I mean, guys, you know how I do these videos. These are streams of consciousness videos often, and this is going to be one such video where I will listen to my Meze audio lyric 2 and give you my first impressions, and then of course I'll follow up with a more extended review. Guys, so Meze is not a company that's new for me. Of course, I've reviewed I think every Meze product under the sun. And I like Meze a lot. I like what Antonio Meze stands for. I like his very, very avant-garde and aesthetically oriented orientation or approach, rather, to how he designs his headphones. And it almost seems like he is, I think he places aesthetics in a way, he positions aesthetics in a way that he tries to make it coterminous with the sonic abilities of his headphones. So I think there's this confluence, right? There's this interesting synergy between how he designs his products and what they sound like. Like if you see the Meze Imperial when it came out, it had this very iconic look. Like if you imagine the silhouette of the Meze Imperial, it was very iconic, right? Because it had this beautiful sort of wing-like structure to the comfort strap, and you know, and it was very ergonomic, yet it was very distinct, and it was made of carbon fiber. So the way he's able to achieve all of that, right? Like design, purely the aesthetic sense, design in the sense of functionality, and design also in the sense of being premium. I just think, it blew a lot of people away, and the Meze Imperial sounded like no other headphone because when it came out, yes, other headphones might have out-resolved it, but it had this grandiose staging. That it had a very impactful and powerful bass, a certain warmth to the mids, and he also kept the upper mids recessed just a bit, so it gave its own character, and it was just amazing, I thought. So I've been a huge fan of Meze, guys, and I've worked with Meze for a bit of time now. So when I got this in, I was very excited because this is a revision to the Lyric one, and every time Meze has done a revision, they've generally tended to go for more neutral tuning. So this is no different, right? So this is meant to appease, and this will appease a wide range of audiophiles. So this is not the first time I'm hearing this. So it's not going to be an aha moment per se. But I mean, I haven't listened to this for long spells either. So I'm going to start listening to my collection of tracks. As always, it's going to be streamed via Rune to my Orender N20 streamer, onto my DAC, the Mola Mola Tembaki, and onto my, and in this case, my desktop amplifier, which is going to be the Revere Labs AIC10, which is, of course, a very expensive $20,000-ish amplifier. And yeah, this is overkill for this headphone, but I do want to see what it sounds like at its best. The amplifier has a certain coloration of its own, and I'll talk about that, so you don't think that it will, so you are covered in terms of what kind of coloration the amplifier is imparting. So without further ado, I'm going to play Icy Fire by Jasmine Thompson from the album Another Bundle of Tantrums. So it does, in a certain sense, sound like a closed back, and in a certain sense it doesn't. I'm getting a lot of beautiful separation between the strumming of the acoustic guitar and her vocals. Clear clarity. So closed backs often suck in this regard. They are not able to give you that upper mid clarity, and the bass becomes boomy when they try to sort of do bass. Separation here is better than what I would have expected this price point of $2,000. And I'm getting adequate resolution, right? So I don't think I'm missing resolution. It's at that level of resolution. It's at the threshold after which, if you get more, it's a bonus. But if you don't get any, and if you get just that, like this amount of resolution, you'd be fine with any headphone. Beautiful timbre. So they've knocked timbre out of the park. So I'm playing a random track, Secondhand News by Birdie, from the album Young Heart. Turn the volume up. The upper mids are intimate. They're spin again. Yeah, the female vocals here sound amazing. There's a lot of texture, a lot of nuance. It's very easy paced. There's certain languidity to the female vocals. You sort of hear the tremors in her voice in a very lifelike way. And you are getting a sense of very distinct placement of images, and the staging is very complete. So when I said it doesn't often sound like a close back, what I mean to say is it doesn't. It sounds very spacious. It sounds incredibly spacious. And I'll get into the tech in a separate review, in a more long-term review of how they're able to achieve this, perhaps, as in my hypothesis as to how they're able to achieve this. But this has this roominess that I think very close backs do, honestly, and especially not at this price point. The bass sounds great. Not overpowering, but very good. Nothing wrong with the treble anywhere that I can perceive. Okay, I do want to play Versions of the Truth by the Pineapple Thief. I've played this before for you, whenever I've done this kind of stream of consciousness. Yeah, there's a certain amount of languidity to the overall presentation. It's a bit easy paced, which is nice for a close back, I think, right? Because if you imagine a close back, why do you want to get a close back? Because you do want to immerse yourself in the music, I think. Shut everything else out. You could be on a flight or in your office, and this sort of languidity, I think, is just very becoming of a close back. Staging is actually great. I mean, this is something Meze does, and I thought it was an open back situation that allowed it, but it's got really tall images somehow. I have a sense of the music soaring, which usually means the images are very tall. Very distinct imaging. Imaging is just masterclass, as good as any headphone in the $3,000, $4,000 price range. Bass is good. Very good bass by any standards. Sub bass, great extension. I'm hearing the rumble. Good bass, good drums. Let's try supersonic. Sounds great. The drums come in. It's just very well put together. The entire drum piece with cymbals. The Supersonic by Oasis, by the way. It's a really nice track from album Supersonic. Drums sound very realistic. And there's a lot of very acute distinction in how images are placed. Yeah, I'm also getting a sense of stage width on this one. My last track is going to be Murmuration by Gogo Penguin. So the song starts with music coming from a distance, and this is able to capture the distance really, really well. In fact, it reminds me of the Hyphen Susvara and how Susvara is able to capture stage depth. So the staging here is awesome for a close back. Yeah, the sub bass is pretty decent. The dynamics are pretty decent. It's honestly very decent all around. Like, I don't see anything that I can point out as a flaw in this one, and which is very difficult for a close back. Close backs usually like excel in one thing or the other, like bass or dynamics. Yeah, it's got really good resolution as well. Like, I'm hearing finger strum on the guitar strings. Fancy. It's a very fancy sound. So Murmuration by Gogo Penguin sounded perfect, guys. So I have listened to this before. So basically my TLDR from the first impressions is that this is a close to perfect close back, honestly, at this price point. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's very light. I mean, it's light for me. It's got cup swivel, which is just fantastic. All the way cup swivel, and it's comfortable. The cups are not as roomy as the Meze Empyrean or the Elite, but they are still able to, go around my ears, and my ears are largish because I do have a large noggin. It looks stunning. It's got this, beautiful wood finish, and I'll get into all the specs in greater detail when I do my long-term review. But I think this is a knockout. This is something that I think Meze has knocked out of the park with. Bass is great. Mid-range is clear, and it's very difficult, I've seen, for close backs to have that balance between upper mids and bass. Like they either have too much energy in both upper mids and bass, like the Stelia does, or there are times when the bass just drowns out the upper mids. But that's not the case here. It's actually very well tuned. Treble, I mean, I saw a graph somewhere. There was a peak, I think, somewhere, but I haven't heard this yet. This is where perhaps I do want to disclaim that I do need more time with this, because I've been listening to this off my AIC 10, Riviera Labs AIC 10, which can be warmish. But the AIC 10, to my experience, has nothing to hide upper treble, which is generally where Meze tends to have energy. But I'll get back to you on what the treble sounds like after I do a more resolute and a more long-term screening. But what's clearly evident is the technical performance of this headphone is just amazing for this price point. And I know Meze has been, focused on every sort of the whole package more, but this, I think, is a technical performer, because I've sensed a lot of nuances, microdynamics, like little inflections in a person's voice, tremors, I think I called it, undulations in a person's voice, and that was very nice. I've sensed a good deal of resolution in the mid-range as far as strings plucking goes, and a good deal of resolution on the bass. In terms of the texture of drums sound very lifelike, and they have impact and dynamics. And like I said, soundstage is wonderful, guys, because I'm getting a very out of the head feeling. Yes, it's not as out of the head as, let's say, an open back Sennheiser HD800 would be, and that's clear, but it's still able to honestly give you this sense of imaging that's very well spaced out and very real for what it's worth. So that's it for me, guys. I hope this first impressions video is useful, but do stay tuned, because I'm going to do a longer term review of this amazing headphone. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.